Good morning, and you are welcome to another section of our lesson. Today, we want to look at utility part 2. Utility part 2. In the previous video, we looked at utility part 1. That was the definition of utility and the characteristics. Today, we want to look at part 2, and under this, we are going to talk about some of the definition of some concepts: total utility, marginal utility, average utility, and then also look at how to solve questions or how to apply them to solve questions. Is that clear? Okay. So you have consumer behavior with continuation, utility part 2. So total utility, we said that by definition it is the total satisfaction a consumer derives from consuming a quantity of a good or service. So if you drink a bottle of water, there is a level of satisfaction that you derive, and so we call that total utility, because that 1 unit of bottle that you consume, it's a quantity, so we call it total utility. So as you increase the quantity intake or quantity consumed, your total utility is expected to also what? Increase. Is that okay? All right. So it's not only a good but also a service. For instance, I am teaching, I'm rendering a service, and you're also consuming it. So there's a satisfaction you are deriving from the service that I am giving. Is that okay? And then we said, how can we calculate total utility? So we said total utility, TU, it's equal to average utility multiplied by the quantity consumed. Is that okay? The average utility is the satisfaction per unit. So if I buy one bottle of water, and I am deriving 5 U2s, then if I multiply this by this, I'm supposed to get my total utility. Is that okay? Now if the quantity increase, maybe now I'm consuming 2 bottles, is that okay? Then we expect the total utility to also what? To increase. Is that right? So if I multiply this by the average satisfaction derived, I need to get the total utility. We'll come back with illustrations to do that. Then the second formula we can also use is that to get the total utility is the summation. Okay, we call it cumulative summation. The meaning of this word, cumulative summation. So the summation of the marginal utility at each level give us the total utility. Is that okay? We'll have illustrations and I will explain into details. Is that clear? Now let's look at average utility. So the average utility is a satisfaction a consumer derives per unit of a commodity consumed. Is that okay? Per unit. And how do we calculate average utility? Is the total utility divided by the quantity. So this is the formula. You can also make it AU equals TU divided by what? Q. It's the same thing. Is that okay? Now looking at this formula, if we cross multiply, we are going to get back total utility to be equal to average utility by quantity. Do you get it? So we are saying that the average utility AU is derived when we divide the total utility at each level by the quantity consumed. Is that okay? When we do the illustration, you understand it better. Now let's move on to look at the marginal utility. Okay. So the marginal utility is the additional satisfaction a consumer derives as a result of consuming an additional or extra unit of a commodity. Is that okay? I'll come to that very soon. Or we are saying that it is a change in total utility as a result of a change in the quantity consumed. Now, example, what we are saying is that, for instance, if I consume 1 bottle of water, so this is the quantity, this is my TU, and this 1 bottle of water is giving me 5. Then if I add additional bottle, let's say, so in all I'm consuming 2 bottles, so my total utility is now, let's say, 8, quantity increase, total utility has also increased. Now we want to find the marginal utility, and we are saying that the marginal utility is the additional satisfaction derived as a result of consuming additional units. So we consume the first one and we derive 5 U2s. We consume the second one and the total satisfaction now is what? Is 8. So now the marginal utility, by formula we said it is a change in total utility as a result of a change in what? The quantity. So we are saying the new total utility minus the previous total utility all over the new quantity minus what? The previous quantity. So our new total utility is 8 minus the previous total utility. So let me put it here. Is 8 minus the previous, which is 5, all over the new quantity 2 minus the old quantity 1, and that gives us what? 3. So in simple terms, if you consume the first item and it's giving you 5 and you add additional unit and it's giving you 8, then it means the additional unit you have consumed is giving you what? 3. So 3 plus 5 give us what? 8. So by formula, this is how we calculate the marginal what? Utility. Anytime you increase your quantity, your satisfaction also increases, also changes. So the change in satisfaction as a result of the change in the quantity consumed is what we call the marginal what? Utility. As a matter of fact, in economics, when we say marginal, we are referring to additional unit of an item at this level. Is that okay? Some people call it the margin, and that is in deeper economics. Is that okay? All right. So now we are going to look at how we can apply this formulae or how we can use this to solve questions. Is that okay? Is that clear? All right. Okay, so we have an example of a question on the table. Use the table below to answer the questions that follow. So this is the example on the board. The first one is a calculate at each quantity consumed I, average utility, II, marginal utility, and we are going to solve this one together. Is that okay? All right. Okay, so we have the solution there. So the formula says AU equals TU divided by quantity. So 0 divided by 0 is 0. So 12 divided by 1 is 12. 20 divided by 2 is 10. 26 divided by 3, 8.7. The AU4 equals 30 divided by 4, that gives us 7.5. And the fifth one gives us 32 divided by 5 gives us 6.4. And so that is the answer. So we are just dividing this by each quantity at each level to get the AU. Now let's look at how we can find the marginal utility too. Is that right? Okay. When it comes to the marginal utility, this is the formula. So now we use this triangle as a change, and the meaning of this is new minus old, or the previous, the current minus the previous. Is that okay? So we have the marginal utility. The first one is 0. The second one 12 minus 0 all over 1 minus 0. So this 1 becomes the current or the new, 0 becomes the old. So 12 minus 0 all over 1 minus what? 0. That gives us 12. The second one will give us marginal utility at the second quantity. Will give us 20 minus the 12, which is the previous, all over 2 minus 1. The third one will give us 26 minus 20, all over 3 minus 2. So you see the solution here. It follows in that order. Now what I want you to know is that when you move from 1 to 2, 1 becomes your previous, 2 becomes your new. When you move from 2 to 3, 3 becomes new, 2 becomes old. When you move from 3 to 4, 4 becomes new, 3 becomes what? Old, in that order. And that is why we have the answers to be like this. Now note something, that here When it comes to the quantities, look at it. The difference is only one. So you can realize that we only focus on what this one to get the answers. Is that okay? So this is how we find the marginal utility, and we can represent all of this one in the table by extending the table and creating a column for that. Is that okay? All right. Let's look at how we can do that. Now we can represent our answers in the table. So this is it. Now the negative 30 minus 32 give us negative 2. Is that okay? So that brings us to the end of this section, part 2 of marginal utility. I have this book here which has been developed for data book or data work. Is that okay? It contains a lot of data questions on all the topics in economics. It contains a lot of data questions, and I have a lot of questions on utility in it, which you can get and then start practicing. Now, when you open the book, there are spaces provided in the book where you can put your answers in. Is that okay? And so if you need a copy, you can call me. The number is at the back. The number is at the back of the book. You have 0245 712230, and we have 050 945 4625. Is that okay? So you can get a copy for yourself, and that will help you. Okay, so we'll come back to look at the part 3 of utility. Is that right?